Okay, we've got to talk about the Buga sphere. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, the images we're looking at right now are actually of the Yumbo sphere. Very similar sphere, shockingly similar. It's got the same, equator around it with the same, they look like holes. I don't know if they're really holes, but the same dots around the equator. Looks like a similar size in the same general area, like 25 miles away from Buga. Great daytime capture from this gentleman. And the cool thing about this is that this image, or these images, were recently analyzed by an Italian team looking at, like the metadata and looking to see if this is a real object in this space, if it's CGI or something. And it's a real deal object. The analyzed image shows a natural landscape dominated by a high voltage tower with electrical cables extending horizontally across the entire scene. In the foreground, along the entire tower, part of the photo, the dense foliage of sugarcane is visible. A moderate amount of clouds can be seen in the sky. Okay, well, we can see all that stuff. Anyway, but yeah, this great image of the Yumbo sphere. Again, just shockingly similar to the Buga sphere. I would love if, it could be found to have like a symbol or a design on it. That'd be amazing. And let's see, here's the metadata that was examined and found to be legit. So that's awesome. So the Buga sphere, the Yumbo sphere appears to be legit. And as you can see, it's got these equator holes or whatever that are very similar to the Buga sphere. So very, very intriguing that we have these two shockingly similar objects in the same area, one of which is being studied by civilian researchers right now. We've got a UFO. We've got a UFO, y'all. We've got a UFO. I love it. I love it. Now, about the Buga sphere, we have people debating about the report delivered by the university in Mexico that is studying the sphere, the Buga sphere. Let's just call it UNAM. That's what everybody is calling it, the university. Missile Man has some harsh thoughts on it. And Missile Man is saying, this will be my final comment on the Buga sphere. Barring extremely compelling new data, I have resolved with sufficient scientific rigor and to a sufficient degree of certainty to satisfy a professional scientist that this device was manufactured by humans with modest technological processes. Yeah, he says the UNAM report in summary, sphere is made of two automotive grade aluminum alloys. All materials are of plausible terrestrial origin, including all metals, low-cost telecom silica optical fibers, and bakelite epoxy. Identifies prosaic means of manufacture. Identifies quality escapes in manufacture. Solves the hardness mystery. Solves the alloy mystery. Identifies prosaic means of etching of the glyphs. Conducts destructive analysis contrary to claims, states the hardness did not change with magnetic field, explains the mass loss with temperature mystery. Any references, excerpts from the report from the university in Mexico, UNAM. And you can read this at your leisure. There's the part about the alloy. The elemental chemical analysis revealed that an aluminum alloy. This alloy is typically produced by sand mold casting. It is estimated that the difference in the amount of silicon detected in the crescent part in the chip is associated with the etching process. In the industry, this is a conventional etching process using silicon carbide shot blasting. Okay, all right. And this part looks like it's also about the alloy. Alloy are cast, extruded, decast, etc. It should be mentioned that the equipment will provide a chemical composition. Anyway, so yeah, he references various excerpts The manufacturing of the sphere could have originated from a poor casting process. It's interesting. A dirty casting, a very dirty casting. Electron microscopy analysis revealed a chemical composition of silicon, oxygen, and traces of zinc. So it's assumed that said fiber may be constituted of an optic fiber. On the other hand, the support material was chemically determined as a support polymer, probably of the epoxy type. A deeper analysis is required. So, okay, all right. So there you go. There's Minuteman throwing some cold water on the Buga sphere. He thinks that Jaime Maussan and his team have deliberately misled the public about the nature of the results acquired by the professional scientist. And here he's providing the receipts. So what is the response to this? Well, Gonzalo Chavez has a lot of thoughts about this. I think the report itself shows this device is anomalous, and it's a mixture of outdated technology with modern technology in one device. My talks with ChatGPT earlier about the report. What's weird or unexpected? Talking about the report from the scientists and the researchers at the university that have actually studied the sphere. And this is apparently what ChatGPT had to say about it. Ordinary industrial castings aim for uniform quality in all parts. The text suggests different microstructures and porosity levels between hemispheres. That can happen in sloppy or improvised manufacturing. But for a sphere that's apparently sophisticated enough to have optical fiber in it, it's very unusual to see such poor metallurgical control in one part. 2. Dirty casting in one hemisphere. Porosity and inclusion suggest poor degassing or poor sand mold preparation. That's typical in low-quality or improvised foundries, but would be strange in high-tech manufacturing. No evidence of welding between cast sections. If they cast hemispheres separately, you'd expect welding or brazing to join them. The text says that was not seen. It implies the halves might have been cast together in a single mold, but with different pour events, which is odd and risky for quality. 4. Optical fiber-like inclusions. The most striking anomaly. Optical fibers are modern telecommunications technology. Finding silicon-oxygen structures resembling optical fiber embedded in a metal casting, especially one that looks like it was made in a very rough foundry process, is highly incongruent. Normally, you wouldn't embed fragile optical fibers inside a metal cast this way. It would burn up or be destroyed unless purpose-designed channels or inserts were used. 5. Bakelite polymer as support. Bakelite is an early plastic developed in the early 20th century. It's heat-resistant but brittle. It can be used for electrical insulators, but its presence in pins in a metal casting is somewhat old-fashioned if the object is supposed to be modern, or very anachronistic. I can say that word. You know I can. If the sphere were claimed to be ancient. So my comments were, so we're looking at a down and dirty factory of a genuinely anomalous vehicle. And I said, honestly, that's even more fascinating. Robin's comments were, they may be in a situation analogous to the professor on Gilligan's Island. Tremendous knowledge and experience, but stranded in a place away from all the tools and materials that would allow them to fully unleash their potential. I thought that was a really intriguing comment. Gonzalo goes on, the idea that the Buga is simply an automotive shop project or a rocket fuel tank does not really hold up if you actually read the UNAM report and review the tomography and X-ray diagnostics. Here are some details any serious explanation needs to address. 1. X-rays reveal 3 distinct internal layers with different densities, pointing to deliberate multi-step manufacturing. No visible weld seams were found joining hemispheres or sections, which is unusual for assembled metal objects. Fiber optic like silica inclusions were chemically identified in the equator pins, suggesting the presence of advanced materials not typical in basic foundry work. Bakelite, uh, Bakelite support was confirmed, adding to the complexity of the internal construction. One hemisphere shows extremely dirty casting with heavy porosity, while other zones are much cleaner, consistent with multiple casting events rather than a single uniform pour. 6. Fiber optics were visible through an equator hole, meaning any layer above them would have to have been cast around them without welding or post-assembly, explaining how delicate fibers remain intact during such a process is a critical question. 7. Rocket fuel tanks are typically thin-walled, precision-welded, and made from uniform alloys, not heavy, porous sand castings with these internal complexities. Any realistic explanation needs to account for these manufacturing details rather than dismissing the sphere as a simple foundry product. Well, it's not a simple product of any sort. This thing was flying with no visible means of propulsion. We have no clue how this thing even knew where the hell it was going. It didn't have any cameras or anything as we understand them that would have let a drone operator, for example, guide it around. So, yeah, this is a very anomalous object. There's not just one object. There's multiple of these objects. I've shown videos of similar looking objects from around the world. So what the hell are these things? If they are the result of some sort of inferior, or, I don't want to say inferior, but, a dirty casting, some sort of, not great, foundry or some sort of process like that, some sort of, lab or, factory that is, making these things that may be doing it in suboptimal conditions, but is still producing highly advanced, anomalous craft that we don't understand. Like I said, that's in a way even more interesting. It was like Robin was saying, like Gilligan's Island, the professor, he knew how to do all these things, but he was working with coconuts. So is it, some NHI here on Earth working with coconuts, making things like the Buga sphere because they have limited resources? They have the know-how, but they don't have the resources to do what they might have done off-world. Why are they limited in this way with such advanced knowledge and know-how? It's a weird situation, right? If they do have these exotic craft, couldn't they just use that exotic technology to go out and acquire the materials they need? It's fascinating. It's so fascinating. And talking about these old style techniques like bakelite, if I'm understanding that correctly, makes me really curious about the carbon dating that Dr. Stephen Greer is going to have done. How old are these things? I really want to know. I think that's even more relevant question now than it was before. Super fascinating, guys. I love it. Ross Coulthart is not sold on all of this.
With you as a journalist, I'm very wary of engaging with the Buga sphere story because the people who are promoting it as an authentic anomalous object, I think, are preempting scientific investigation. I think it's wrong that there has been media publicity about this matter before it's been able to be rigorously, independently peer-reviewed, scientifically tested. Yes, there's a lot of claims that there are fiber optic cables or something built into the side of the object. There are a lot of claims about anomalous metal residue shavings. What I'd like to see with anything like this is independent peer-reviewed science. Why is that so hard before announcements are made in the media?
Well, independent peer-reviewed science would be great, and hopefully that will be forthcoming. We finally got some peer-reviewed papers released on the Nazca mummies, but it took a while, and we may not have gotten those peer-reviewed papers without the public pressure, which if we had, done what Ross is saying and wait for the peer-reviewed information first, yeah, we might not have gotten that. So, keep the public pressure going, keep the public interest going, keep the information about these objects going. And meanwhile, we will wait for the peer reviewed stuff, but no reason in my mind to hold back on telling the public what is going on, even if it's simply preliminary findings. We've got a UFO, guys. It's weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but UFOs typically don't make a lot of sense. These things are weird, guys. And this is, like I say, possibly from a down and dirty factory making anomalous objects. What's it all about? What will it ultimately result in? Will some sort of mundane, thing be found to explain the Buga sphere? From where I'm sitting, it doesn't seem likely unless you can explain how it's flying and how it's being operated and knows where it's going. So it seems like some highly advanced technology is in play with the Buga sphere, and there are multiple of these things. What are they doing? I would think that would be maybe where we need to go with this conversation. Once we satisfy ourselves, it's a legit anomalous object. That's what I want to know. I'm tired of the conversation in the public space. Are UFOs real or not? Yes, they're real. Now let's get to the good stuff. What are they doing? That's the important thing we need to be answering. Same question in my mind with the Buga sphere. But as Ross says, we need the science on it, and it'd be great if this could be peer reviewed. And we need, all hands on deck on this one. We need as many scientists and as much, scientific, equipment and techniques as they can bring to bear on this thing, so we can figure out what the hell it is and how it works. And ideally, even who made it. Is it the control group? Is it Atlanteans, time travelers, aliens, higher dimensional beings? Cryptids? Did Bigfoot make it? Who made this thing? I want to know, guys. Let me know your theories about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt. That'd be awesome. Become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I appreciate your guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.